again, welcome to class 716. Let's continue with 2 paragraphs today, and then we'll continue with learn to speak up. All right, paragraph number 182. Wow, there are 198 paragraphs in this book, which means I think we're going to finish in maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks. This month, in the next 30 days, probably we will finish the paragraphs. Finally, that would be the second book we have finished. We finished the student's manual, and now we're going to finish the paragraphs. Okay, paragraph number 182. I'll go ahead with the plan as long as you promise to back me up. Huh? If not, forget about it. I'm not going to risk my neck if the rest of you aren't going to do your part as well. I haven't forgotten what happened the last time we tried something like this. I haven't forgotten what happened the last time we tried something like this. Okay, I'll go ahead with the plan. I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead with the plan. Okay? To go ahead with it, seguir adelante, seguiré adelante con el plano, vale. As long as you back me up. Siempre que me apoyes o me respaldes en ello. ¿Eh? I'll go ahead with the plan as long as you back me up, on the condition that you back me up, provided you back me up, provided that you back me up, or as long as. Tan largo como tiene dos significados, el tan largo como y siempre que me respaldes, a condición de me respaldes. I'll go ahead with the plan, as long as you promise, me olvidé el promise, siempre que prometas respaldarme. Aquí dice siempre que prometéis, okay, no, siempre que prometáis. I'll go ahead with the plan as long as you promise to back me up. If not, forget about it. If not, si no, olvídate de todo esto. Olvídalo todo. Forget about it. Forget it, también nos vale. El about es opcional. Forget it también es que se me olvidó el paraguas, I forgot. Eso es un olvido. But forget about it means ni lo tengas en cuenta. Olvídalo. Forget about it. If not, I'll go ahead with the plan. I'll go ahead with the plan as long as you promise to back me up. Respaldarme, apoyarme en esto. As long as you promise to back me up. If not, forget about it. Otherwise, forget about it. Otherwise, or if not. ¿Sí no? Olvídalo. I'm not going to risk my neck. Arriesgarme el cuello, también se dice, el pescuezo, arriesgarme el cuello por ti. I'm not going to risk my neck if the rest of you aren't going to do your part as well. I'll do my part, but you have to do your part, okay? I mean, we need to come together on this. You have to back me up. You have to promise to back me up. Otherwise, forget about it. If not, forget about it. I'm not going to risk my neck. I'm not going to risk my neck if the rest of you don't do your part. No hacéis vuestra parte, lo que os compete. If you don't do your part as well. A mí me compete esta parte, a tú el otra parte. Yeah, I'll go ahead with the plan. I'll go ahead with the plan as long as you promise to back me up. If not, forget about it. I'm not going to risk my neck if the rest of you don't do your part as well. I haven't forgotten what happened the last time we tried something like this. I haven't forgotten. Tengo memoria, buena memoria. No he olvidado lo que pasó la última vez que intentamos algo así. I haven't forgotten the last time we tried something like this. I haven't forgotten what happened the last time we tried something like this. I get the impression that the other people didn't support the person who's speaking, didn't back up the person who's speaking. I'll go ahead with the plan. I'll go ahead with it. I'll go ahead with the plan. Siempre que prometas, as long as you promise to back me up. If not, comma, otherwise, comma, if not, forget about it. I'm not going to risk my neck. If the rest of you if the rest of you aren't going, si no vais a hacer vuestra parte también, if the rest of you aren't going to do your part as well, I haven't forgotten what happened the last time we tried something like this. I haven't forgotten what happened the last time we tried something like this. All right. Paragraph 183. If I were you, I'd put my money on Johnson. Excuse me. If I were you, ¿qué quieres decir? If I were you, si yo fuera tú, o sea, yo que tú, yo en tu lugar, si yo estuviera en tu lugar. If I were you, así se dice, if I were you. If I were, si yo fuera. Ahora, if I were you, si yo estuviera en tu lugar, if I were you, I'd put my money on Johnson. I'd put my money on Johnson. I would put my money on Johnson. ¿Qué quiere decir? ¿Pondrías tu dinero encima de Johnson? In Johnson? Yeah, if I were you, I'd put my money on Johnson. I don't exactly understand. All right? Even though he's a lot older, he's still faster with his hands than Smith. Smith. Yeah, Johnson and Smith. If I were you, I'd put my money on Johnson. Even though he's a lot older, yeah, he's still faster with his hands than Smith. And he has a lot more experience too. Smith's only won 3 professional fights. How do you expect him to beat a veteran like Johnson? Okay, these are boxers. Boxeo. And I'm going to bet money. So, and a person says to me, Richard, hey, if I were you, I'd put my money on Johnson. Eh? Johnson's 41 years old. You crazy? Smith is 23. Yeah. But nevertheless, if I were you, I'd put my money on Johnson. Apostar por Johnson. Yeah, I'd put my money on Johnson. Even though he's a lot older, aunque tenga mucho más edad, aunque tiene mucho más edad, even though he's a lot older, he's still faster with his hands than Smith. Rápido con las manos. He's still, es aún así. Still aquí es aún así. Still aquí es no es todavía. Still. Even though he's a lot older than Smith, even though he's a lot older, he's still much faster, no? He's still faster with his hands than Smith, el Smith. Smith significa herrero, ¿eh? Herrero, señor Herrero es el señor Ibáñez. Johnson es Ibáñez. Hijo de Juan. Hijo de Gonzalo es González. Hijo de Pedro es Pérez. Hijo de Pérez. Hijo de Fernando, Fernández. Hijo de Juan no es Juánez. It's Ibáñez o Yáñez. All right. Ibáñez. So, if I were you, I'd put my money on Johnson. Even though, but Johnson, 41 years old, are you crazy? No, even though even though he's a lot older, he's still faster with his hands than Smith. Tendrá una rapidez con las manos. Yes. And he has, además, and he has a lot more experience too. And he has a lot more experience too. Smith's only won 3 professional fights. Smith's only, fíjate que Smith's, hago la contracción con la S. Smith has only won 3 professional fights. Solo ha ganado solo 3 combates profesionales. Fight. A fight es un combate. Además de una pelea, una lucha. Smith has only won 3 professional fights. Ahora, Smith has only won. El has, lo pego como contracción solo con la S. Smith's only won 3 professional fights. How do you expect him to beat a veteran like Johnson? To beat is derrotar, ganarle a un veterano como Johnson. ¿Cómo espera que tú gane un veterano como Johnson? How do you expect him to beat a veteran? To beat. En tenis, seguro que te puedo ganar. In tennis, I'm sure I can beat you. I'm sure I can beat you in tennis. In golf, I'm sure I can beat you. Te ganaré 10 veces seguidas. I can beat you 10 times in a row in golf. In using pencils to teach English, I can beat you. To beat es ganarle a uno. En una partida, un partido. To beat. How do you expect, ¿cómo se dice? How do you expect him to beat a veteran like Johnson? How do you expect Smith to beat a veteran? Veterano. Es un veterano como como el Johnson. Y el Ibáñez. How do you expect Smith to be? Smith is herrero. Blacksmith. Pero ahí viene el apellido de Smith. How do you expect Smith to beat a veteran like Johnson? All right, one more time. If I were you, I'd put my money on Johnson. Even though he's a lot older, he's still faster with his hands than Smith. And he has a lot more experience too. Smith's only won 3 professional fights. How do you expect him to beat a veteran like Johnson? All right. I don't know. He's strong, 23 years old. He's only won 3 professional fights, but he hasn't lost a fight yet. And Johnson has lost 12 fights. Well, Johnson has won 87 fights, and he's lost 12. All right. Smith has never lost a fight, but he's only won 3. He's only participated in 3 fights. He's only had 3 fights. He's won all 3 by knockout. I mean, who would you put, in your case, would you put your money on Smith or would you put your money on Johnson? Listen, Johnson's 41. Smith is 23. Smith turned professional about 15 months ago, and he has had 3 fights, and he has won all 3 by knockouts. So he's very good. He's very young, he's 23. Johnson is 41, but he's still in good shape. He's still in good shape, but he's very fast, very quick with his hands. Yes. However, he has won 87 fights, but he's also lost 12. And of the 12 fights, 6 of them he has lost in the last 4 years. So he's lost 6 fights in the last 4 years. All right. Probably because of his age. It's up to you. But if I were you, I would put my money on Johnson. He's still very fast with his hands. Yeah, even though he's 41, even though he's a lot older than Smith. And he's a lot, ¿cómo decía? He has a lot more experience. Claro, 87 victories and 12 defeats. I mean, that's 99 fights. He's 41. He started when he was 19. 91 fights, and he's only lost 12. but he's lost 6 of the 12 in the last 4 years. So what's your decision? Where will you put your money? Okay. Paragraph number 83. All right, it's enough paragraphs for today. Focus pack. Learn to speak up. Okay. Page 170. Page 170. Se ha apagado el incendio. Se ha apagado. Por sí solo. No, nadie lo apagó. The fire went out. The fire has gone out, dice aquí. The fire's gone out. Es curioso. The fire has gone out es quizá más correcto, pero en Estados Unidos diríamos the fire went out. Es como aquí en Argentina. O en Asturias. Aquí se dice, ¿dónde está Pepe? Pues se ha marchado. En Asturias, ¿dónde está Pepe? Se marchó. Ya, se usa el indefinido. Pretérito indefinido. Se ha apagado el incendio. Se ha apagado el incendio. Gracias a Dios. No hay que llamar a los bomberos. Se ha apagado el incendio por sí solo. An American probably would say the fire went out. The fire's gone out. A purist, a grammarian would probably say the fire has gone out. But I would say the fire went out. The fire went out. Eso pasó de moda hace años. That went out of fashion years ago. What? Shoulder pads. Shoulder pads. Shoulder pads. Yeah. Shoulder pads in American football. Esas protecciones de los hombros en el fútbol americano. ¿Eh? Those are shoulder pads. Pad is una almohadilla. A pad. And there's a pad on this chair. The chair is very hard, and so I have a pad. Plataforma de lanzamiento is the launching pad. Pad. Yes, mouse pad is la almohadilla del ratón. The mouse pad. Pad. Now, shoulder pads, in American football, yes, but also las sombreras en mujeres. I hate shoulder pads. I hate shoulder pads. You don't have shoulder pads, no? I like the natural contours of the human body, especially the female body. I like the natural contours. And then, like this, I don't like it. Now, starting at about 1990 or 1988, shoulder pads for women came into fashion. And always fashions are similar to architecture and to art and to music. Tienes el clásico, luego el barroco, y luego el rococó. And then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. I said, my God. And then suddenly, boom, everything changed. Now, shoulder pads are coming back. All right, they're coming back. Horror. Oh, my God. All right, shoulder pads. Okay, ¿dónde estoy? Eso pasó de moda hace años. That went out of fashion. To go into fashion, or come into fashion, to go out of fashion. Yeah, that went out of fashion years ago, hace años, years ago. Se pusieron en huelga. They went on strike. Yeah, hey Richard, have you ever gone on strike? No, I haven't. I've never gone on strike. Yeah? No? Well, have you ever given class in a company that went on strike? Oh, yeah. Yes. I remember 2 different companies where I was giving class and the workers went on strike and I couldn't continue the classes. Yeah. Había un cierre patronal. You know, they closed the gates of the company and the workers were outside. A lot of labor conflict. Between 1976 or 1975, between 1976 and 1981 perhaps, there was a lot of labor conflicts in Spain, a lot. It was a messy period. It was the transition with Adolfo Suárez. And it was a messy period, but an interesting period because it was a young democracy. All right, se pusieron en huelga. They went on strike. se declararon en huelga. They went on strike. Ensayémoslo una vez más. Let's go over it one more time. Okay. Let's go over it let's try it one more time. Pero let's go over it. Ensayar una actuación, por ejemplo, o un discurso. Voy a ensayar el discurso. So, I give it. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a real pleasure for me to be here. And I'm especially happy to be here because I have something I want to say to you. Something that's very important for me. And I'm sure that when I finish my talk, in perhaps 30 or 40 minutes, I'm sure that it will be very important for you as well. Let's get started. Okay. ¿Qué tal? ¿Lo hizo bien? Did I do it okay? Yeah, well, Richard, okay. It was a bit too slow. Speed up a little bit. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to talk to you about... Hey, slow down, Richard. That's too fast. Now, let's go over it one more time. Ensayémoslo una vez más. Let's go over it one more time. Y to go over también es repasar concienzudamente cualquier documento. To go over. To go over it. Let's go over it. Ensayémoslo una vez más. Let's go over it one more time. These are phrasal verbs, by the way. ¿Qué letra viene después de la K? What letter comes after K? What letter comes after K? L. K-L. Yeah, what letter comes after L? M. Oh, yes. So, and what letter comes after M? N! Everybody knows that. What letter comes after the P? Q. It comes after. Viene después. Vuelve, te necesito. Come back. I need you. Come back. I need you. All right. Pasa por mi casa antes de ir ahí. Come by my house before going there. Drop by my house. Stop by my house. Pass by my house. There are many ways of saying it. Drop by my house. Come by my house. ¿Cuál me gusta más? Si yo le digo a Marta, mira, antes de ir a ese sitio, pasa por mi casa y te doy el documento y luego ya lo tienes para el lunes próximo. I would say, pass by my house, or drop by my house, or come by my house, todos. Pass by my house. If I say, Marta, pass by my house, means yo bajo a la calle y se lo doy en el coche. No entra en la casa. Then pass by. Drop by my house, casi aparca y sube, and I give it to her. Drop by my house. Come by my house. Come by, pass by, it doesn't matter. The word by is always, la constante is by. Stop by my house, drop by my house, pass by my house. Antes de ir ahí, before going there. Marta, ¿qué haces ahí arriba? Bájate de ahí. Come down from there. Can you imagine I come into the room and Marta's sitting on one of the bars going across, up in the rafters, in those topes, the rafters up there, saying, Marta, what are you doing up? What are you doing up there? Come down. Come down from there. Baja de ahí. Come down from there. Se reduce una cuestión de dinero. Todo. It comes down. It comes down. Come down from there is baja de ahí, pero una cuestión, todo se reduce a una cuestión de dinero. Everything comes down to a question of money. It all comes down to a question of money. Which is not true, by the way. An alternative, it all boils down. Boil is hervir o cocer agua. To boil, claro, si hierves agua, al final se consume. Se reduce. Aquí se dice reducción para un plato cocinado. It all boils down to a question of money. pero se dice más lo otro. It all comes down, todo se reduce a la cuestión de dinero en la vida. It all comes down to a question of money. Is that true? I don't think so. It's not true. It doesn't all come down to a question of money. It all boils down to a question of money. It all comes down to a question of money. Este tipo de bolígrafo resulta muy útil. This kind of pen comes in handy. Comes in very handy. Comes in handy. Resulta muy útil. Yeah. The big pen. Big pens are very handy. Handy means útil, de manejable, de muy a mano. It comes in handy. Pens like this one, come in very handy. To come in handy. It comes in handy. Having a cup, these pencils really come in handy. They are extremely useful for teaching many aspects of the English language, or any language. These pencils come in handy. Yes. And this English class comes in handy for you. It's very useful, I hope. I'll see you tomorrow.